We all know what it feels like to not quite belong in a situation. Everybody seems to be having fun, talking about like celebrity culture or talking about how somebody broke up with someone, and they all seem to be interested, but in that moment, you just don't feel it. You just sit there and ask yourself, okay, am I wrong for not enjoying this conversation right now? Or is this actually like just hollow and not worth discussing? And when you zone out, maybe your friend asks you why you're so quiet today and what's up with you. And then you hear yourself say, oh, well, wait, who broke up with whom again? Sorry, I just didn't listen. I was just, zoned out a bit. But you're really downplaying your own thoughts here. You're not just being quiet when you have these thoughts. Psychology actually has a word for this feeling, and we all experience it. It's called incongruence, which means the distance between who you are and who you perform yourself to be. So in that moment, it just starts to become evident that you are not really who you are. You're not really interested in these conversations, but you're still there, attending them, being there, because you want to be liked. Carl Jung called this having a persona. So he basically said that we all have a mask that we wear to function in society, and we all need a mask as well. And that's the starting point here. The persona is necessary. You can't just walk around in life doing everything that you want to do, saying everything that you want to do, because that way you're just being a narcissist. You need a persona to function. But the problem starts when you start to confuse your own identity with the persona. And this is what happens to us a lot of the times. The persona has two functions. The first one is to create an impression on people, and the second one is to hide your true nature. And the second function of this is where it actually starts to become problematic, because when you wear this mask for too long, when you try to uphold this image of yourself for too long, you start to forget who you are underneath. And that's when you start to wonder whether your own goals, your own dreams, feelings, whatever, whether they are yours or whether that it's just something that you adapted, something that you told yourself you wanted in order to be liked by people, in order to perfect this mask that you're wearing all of the time. It's essentially like ignoring your own compass. And after a while, it is totally out of tune and it needs calibration because you haven't been listening to it for so long. And eventually, you just don't know who you are anymore. And Carl Rogers said about this that we actually feel this tension between who we are and who we pretend to be. And he believed that this can actually be felt in the body. So you might think that you're depressed because you have some sort of chemical imbalance in your brain. And that may be part of it. But more often than not, it's not just that, but also that you're constantly living out a version of yourself that you are not. You're constantly just abiding to the rules of society. You're constantly just doing good in the eyes of everybody else when actually you're not doing what you want to do. And this is what is making you depressed, because a lot of the times people think that the more they will wear this mask, the more they will become this mask. There's this fake it till you make it thing going around. You wear this mask. You pretend to be someone that you're not. And then after a while, this will fuse. And you just want to get rid of the person underneath the mask. But this is not a fair trade. You're trading a mask for a person here. Do you see the problem? It's like you want just the tip of the iceberg and don't want to see what's underneath it, because parts of it may be ugly. Parts of it may not be what other people want you to be. Say you want to pursue like a creative career and your family is very conservative. They want you to do something real, to go into business or whatever, and you just keep pushing that down and you keep pursuing something else, and then you ask yourself why you're miserable doing a bachelor's degree in business when all you want to do is become an artist, This is what it leads to when you start to confuse your mask with your identity. And what is problematic about it is that you then can't identify the root of your misery anymore, because you actually maybe start to believe, oh, I really want to pursue this business degree. I really want this. Even if you've been wearing this mask for a very long time, you know when you're lying to yourself. This is what Rogers meant with this. You feel it in your body. It's kind of, you feel that something you say or something you do is not quite what you want to do and say. It's like a tightness in your chest. It's like a sick feeling in your gut when you say something that sounds right to the others but doesn't sound right to you. And this is where you have to begin. Every time you feel this sensation that something is off about what you say, what you do, for example, the situation I described in the beginning, where you have this conversation about celebrity culture, whatever, and you zone out and then you jump back in, don't say that. Don't say it if you don't mean it. Deep down, you know that those words aren't really yours, that this is not what you want to say. But sometimes, especially in a situation like that where everybody's wearing their masks, because honestly, most people in that scenario are just wearing their masks. They're all performing. Nobody's actually like deeply invested in that. They're just doing this to feel like they belong. And in that situation, it's terrifying to say something original and to show your real face when everybody else is kind of masking and being all shallow. But if we never risk the truth, and if we never really show ourselves in social situations, we never risk truly being known. And if we're never known, we remain loved only for our persona and not for our true self. And this is dangerous because then we're essentially living a lie. And studies show that people who are high in authenticity, they report less anxiety and depression. They have higher resilience under stress because you have to think about the fact you're having troubles at work or whatever. And on top of that, you're constantly performing. So it's always kind of a delta. It's always kind of an extra additional cost that you have to consider, which makes everything ultimately harder. And most importantly, people who are high in authenticity, they report greater life satisfaction. Many of us are exhausted, but not from doing too much, but from being too little of ourselves. And we basically abandon ourselves for approval all the time. And that way we trade authenticity for comfort, and we dim the light of our consciousness in exchange for a spot in the tribe, for a spot in the group. And we have very conflicting desires here. First, we want to belong, but second, we also want to be ourselves. Fitting in is a survival instinct, but belonging, that comes only after being true. If you're being honest, and if you start, if you're sitting at that table and say, oh my gosh, guys, low-key, I'm not interested in this right now. Can we talk about something else? Like, I really don't bother. I want to talk to you about something else. You will lose some people if you're being honest. Maybe you will unsettle your family, or confuse your friends. But what you gain is much more important. You gain yourself. You gain back the person that you've been hiding underneath the mask. And if you persist long enough, or if you refuse to betray yourself, others will find you. There may be a period where you're alone, where you're kind of, figuring out, okay, how am I actually myself? What do I say? What do I do? What do I want? And then you will find the people who will support you for that, the real ones. They will recognize you. And you will realize that you were never strange for having these thoughts. You were just waiting to stop pretending to be someone that you're not. I'm encouraging you to be more honest and to stop pretending to be someone you're not. cut off the friendships where you feel like you're pretending all the time. And your life will start to feel more meaningful, more authentic. So yeah, I hope you guys could take something from this video, and I see you guys in the next video. Bye.